What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another episode of Cutting Up with Unkle Mel. Got something to talk to y'all about, so let's go and get into it.
Cut up Unkle Mel, 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 cut up Unkle Mel. How you cutting up? 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 How you cutting up?
All right, so look, today we talking about the man code, all right? Some people's feelings might get hurt. If you're easily offended, this is not the episode for you. So if you're easily offended, please take a moment and go ahead and exit out the video now, please. Thank you. All right, so recently, I had a conversation with someone, and I value this person's opinion. I think that this young man is very intelligent. I respect him and he respects me. But whenever it comes to certain topics, we tend to butt heads a lot, right? And what I've learned is that the younger generation, for the most part, you can't tell them nothing, you can't teach them nothing. That's just how it is. People got to find their own way. And that's fine. That's fine. I have no problem with that. And I've always tried to mentor the younger people. And, that's what I enjoy doing. And even my daddy used to tell me sometime, boy, leave that young person alone. Don't tell them nothing. You can't tell these teenagers nothing. And you can't. But what I'm going to talk about is the man code. Because me and this particular person was having a conversation, and, he was raised by his mom. His mom has two sisters, to my knowledge. And, as far as the men in his life, that was pretty much his grandfather. And he was pretty much talking about he don't feel as though he missed out on any masculine traits that he would have gotten by having a father in his life. This person believes that masculinity is only a social construct and that is not a real thing or whatever, being masculine, right? Because, everybody has testosterone and estrogen, and we know that having testosterone to make you masculine, having estrogen to make you feminine, therefore you have men and women and so forth and so on. We understand that. But I was raised by my daddy, and I have two sons. And for someone to say that they don't feel as though they missed out on anything by not having a father, as far as masculinity goes, just not true. And you can tell when somebody has missed out on something by the man code. Because if you missed out on a father, you're going to have some man code violation. You're going to violate the man code. And even when you're raised by your father, sometimes you're going to violate the man code. This person believed that, okay, my grandfather fought in Vietnam, he's masculine, or is he not masculine? That's what the person asked me. Well, I'm not going to answer that because that's your loved one, somebody you care for. And I don't get into that because I can see how you would be offended by my answer depending on what I say. So that's one thing I would tell people too. If you're having a conversation with somebody, a debate or whatever, don't necessarily bring up family members that you truly care about because you don't know what that person's going to say. So don't even set yourself up like that or set the other person up like that. But I will say this. If in a perfect world, right, you have someone who's born, they become an adult. Maybe they have their children no younger, in a perfect world, no younger than the age of 23. So let's say at 23, that person has sons, daughters, whatever. And then their sons and daughters start having kids at 23 in the perfect world. So that grandparent would be somewhere around their 40s by the time they become a grandparent in the perfect world. Or in the better world, their children didn't start having kids till they were in their 30s. So now your grandparents is in the 50s. I asked a person today, just at the gym having a conversation with someone, and be like, do you think a grandfather could raise his grandson with the same lessons and teach them as much as a father would? And he said, no. I said, well, why not? He said, they old. And that's my point. You are not going to get enough male training from your grandfather as you would from having an actual father or uncle, somebody who is younger and closer to your generation. You have to be able to bridge that generational gap. You have to be able to bridge that. And if you have your mother and your aunts, your grandfather is not around you as much as your mother is for sure, unless your mother lives with their parents and so therefore you live with them too. And then your aunts. You are being around majority women. You are not really getting the full male experience. You're not. And that's my thing. I don't understand how people can think that they are getting, a male experience from a woman. Yeah, my mama raised me to be a man. No, she couldn't have. Yeah, you are a male and you are an adult, which makes you a man. She got you from birth to 18 and beyond. Maybe, obviously you still have your life. You're not incarcerated and stuff like that. So did she raise you? Yes. Did she raise you to be a man? No. Grandparents don't usually raise grandchildren up. I know I got two cousins named Alex and Elvin. They moved in with my grandpa, my dad's dad, which is their mom's dad. And see, that's a difference too. Like, if you moving in with your mom, dad, that grandpa is not going to be on you like that other grandpa will. Because for one thing, if you have a relationship with your grandparents, it's because your parents made sure that your grandparents were in your life. That is intentional, right? So if you have your dad's dad in your life, that means your dad is in your life. So now you're getting two generations of manhood, masculine lessons passed down to you. You are really getting that full circle. And if you got your great grandpa, well, you're just getting it all, right? You are truly blessed, right? But my cousins end up moving in with my grandpa. Well, normally when grandchildren have to move in with the grandparents, it's because the parents are just fuck ups. Let's just keep it 100. So that means that my aunt wasn't doing something right to where they got pulled from the house where they had both parents, right? And end up living with the grandparents. Well, guess what? Those two cousins didn't even graduate high school. They didn't. Now, they had two sisters. The girls both graduated, right? But the boys didn't. You understand? My grandpa worked for a very long time. He didn't have the time to invest into my cousins. And my grandpa had 11 offspring. 11 offspring. He was done raising his. Now, my dad lived with his grandparents out in the country when my grandpa moved to the city to go work. My dad and his older brother, the very first number one out of 11, stayed with the grandparents. But my daddy recently told me that his daddy will go see him all the time. And sometimes he'll go take him, and spend weeks with him in the city. But he left for work, right? And for somebody to say, oh, well, I got the full parenting experience, I got all the masculine lessons I was supposed to get with my dad not being there. No, you didn't. It is impossible. Highly unlikely. At the least, highly unlikely, right? So, for example, my daddy has 5 of us. 2 boys, 3 girls. He got divorced from the first 2, the oldest, which is my sister and my brother. He divorced their mom. Their mom did not give them to my dad the way my mom gave me to my dad, right? Fast forward, my brother ended up out in the streets. He ended up selling drugs, right? He ended up having some kids. I'm not sure how many children he have. I think he got at least 3. I don't even have relationships with them. That's how this is. So then my brother ends up getting on drugs and has been on drugs for most of my life because my brother is at least a good 15 years older than me. I meet my nephew, my brother's son, at the age of 19. He was being raised by his mother. My nephew couldn't even read and write when I met him. And my daddy was upset with my brother because of that, because that's my brother's fault. Your son missed out on valuable lessons, and it's your fault. So for somebody to say, I didn't have my daddy, I had my mom, my aunts, and my grandpa, and I'm not no less of a man, maybe in your eyes you're not. Maybe in your eyes you're not. But I know better. Me personally, I know better. I know there's lessons that you're missing out on, that you've missed out on. And this person, we've had conversation, and they've had some man code violations, right? So now, my brother's in his 50s, still messing with the drugs. His mama don't want nothing to do with him. So he goes to my daddy's house from time to time. But when my daddy wanted to have him when he was younger and raise him the way that he did with me, the mama stood in the way and wouldn't allow that to happen. There are women who realize that they have missed out on a lot by not having a husband. So for a fatherless son to say, I didn't miss out on nothing by not having a father, that's just ridiculous. And these are the same men who, not to say this person does it, but these are the same type of men who would tell their mama, Happy Father's Day. I'm watching this Kevin Hart movie called Fatherhood, and there was, the wife died. If y'all haven't watched it by now, spoiler alert. The wife died based on a true story. And there was a conversation where he was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this, if I don't know if I'll be able to do this. And he told his mom, I hope that I can be as good of a mother as you. Man code violation. Then his mother says, I'm sure you'll be a great mother. You see what I'm saying? Now, did she violate the man code? No, because women are expected to say some stuff that's like that. You know what I'm saying? Women will have a man violating the man code. Women will have a man violating the man code. And that's why I'm telling you, mothers can't raise their sons to be full-fledged men. And a mother's father isn't going to do it. And if your grandpa had 3 daughters, your grandpa don't even have experience raising a man. Your grandpa has yet to raise a man if your grandfather doesn't have any sons. Maybe they had a brother that they raised up. Like my mom was the oldest of 6, so she helped raise. But it's one thing to help. Like I raised my nephew, but my nephew was never my legal responsibility. You see what I'm saying? He get in trouble with the law. They're not calling the uncle. I don't have no legal rights to that. They're not calling me. And that's why I'm saying mothers can't raise boys to be men. And it's not your grandpa's responsibility. Your grandpa is not, I guarantee your grandpa does not spend as much time with you as he did with his own offspring. Meaning you're not getting those lessons. And that's why it's important for boys to join sports. One thing a dad does is put his son in sports. So not, because it takes a village. So whenever you got people that's joining sports or they joining band or they doing all these different Greek clubs, whatever it is, beta club, all that type of stuff, debate team, all that, it's because even the parents recognize that they can't raise a child by itself. You need to be around your peers. You need to have other mentors. That's why they want male teachers in the schools. Because what you're doing is, what these high schools are doing, they're graduating a lot of feminine boys. That's what they're doing. They're graduating feminine boys. The most masculine boys usually are on the football team, basketball team, some things like that, right? And so I'm going to give y'all some examples of some man code violations. So me and this same person who was saying they didn't miss anything, we had a conversation about, let's say you went out to the club and you went home with a transgender female, right? So y'all end up being intimate because they had the surgery and whatnot. And then maybe later on you find out that that person was actually born a male, right? Well, that person said that they wouldn't even be mad about it. That's a man code violation. I don't normally say real men. Oh, that's a real man, because women kind of created that, and I don't like the way that they use it against men. Oh, you're not a real man, you're not a real man. But real men would not be content or okay or not pissed the fuck off knowing that they slept with a man, a natural born man, right, who had the surgery. real men wouldn't be content with that, bro. Like, that's a man code violation. Now, I didn't judge the person when they said it. I'm not judging them now. But I know if my son said it, it's going to be some damn problems. Right? Another thing, the person said, well, you know, I want a strong woman. Well, I want a strong woman too. For if something happened to me, they could be strong enough to raise my kids up. Should I die before my kids become adults? But the way this person said it was, they wanted a strong woman for themselves. But the thing about it is, the stronger the woman, the less a man has to do for that woman. And when a woman don't have to go to you for nothing, she ends up not needing you. And I don't see how a man could sit up there and say, yeah, I want a strong woman just because I want a masculine energy woman. I want a masculine woman. But guess what? A boy who was raised around women and a grandpa who didn't have him every single day, 24/7, like a father would, they would say some shit like that. I could see that being said. I could see that. Right? Another guy, not this person I'm referring to, but a whole nother person. I remember he came into my first barbershop and I had an openly gay client in there. And he said to that gay client, he turned around for him and said, how'd I look in these pants? And that gay client just went off. He spazzed out on him like I've never seen somebody spazz out, to the point where I was like, man, look, y'all got to take this outside. I don't know what's happening with y'all, but we don't do that in here. No, not in my place of business. So that guy who antagonized the gay guy, because that's pretty much what he did, just by asking him a question, he left. And then I asked him, I'm like, man, what's going on? He was like, no, because one time he came up to my job and, you know, he came in there and bought him a cold drink. And I guess he wanted my attention or whatever, because when he finally got up to the counter, you know, I was busy. I was dealing with somebody else, and he gonna ask me, oh, so you ain't gonna speak? A man don't ask another man, oh, so you ain't gonna speak? Like, bruh, that's a man code violation. That is first, so, you know, you had to go back, right? So their first interaction was when he asked him, oh, so you're not gonna speak? And then the second, later interaction was him asking him how he look in the pants in my barbershop. Now, the person I'm telling you about who asked about the pants, say he's not gonna speak, his father died when he was very young. On Father's Day, he always posts the same throwback picture of his dad on Instagram. But on Mother's Day, he have a lot of current pictures. So that lets me know, and he say, rest in peace, Pops, right? So his father died when he was real young. So he don't even know that even if you want to ask this man something, the barbershop ain't the place to do it. There are two places in the world that I know are very, very masculine. And that's wherever the Navy SEALs are, whenever they there, and in the barbershop. You don't ask another man something like that in the barbershop. And going back to the previous person, when they said that they wouldn't have a problem or they wouldn't be upset if they found out that they slept with a transgender woman, which means that they were born a male, I told that to another gay client and he looked at me like, what? Like, that's something that you should be pissed off about. And the fact that you're not, that's a man code violation. And this other person asking this openly gay man, I could see if he wasn't openly gay, I could kind of give you a pass on that just because I'm being nice. But you don't ask another man inside the barbershop in front of other men, how do I look in these pants? Nah. I had a barber in my shop, and he was raised by just his mom and his older sister. He's very masculine. Definitely don't violate the man code. Worked with him for over 3 years, to where if he was definitely going to violate the man code, he would have showed himself, right? But since we talking about man code violations, I could tell you I violated the man code. I have. I violated myself. But I realized that after it was explained to me in the worst way, they clowned the piss out of me. But I realized them dudes was right. That was a man code violation. I grew up playing music, right? I wouldn't consider myself a musician anymore because I haven't touched an instrument in a long time. But I have a fondness for music. And I remember when Cater to You came out, the song that everybody trying to cancel right now. Stupid ass cancel culture. The song that everybody trying to cancel right now. I was working at the Coca-Cola plant in Harahan. Majority guys working there and a couple of stud females. We all working there. I got my headphones on. I'm singing the shit out that song. I look around, everybody laughing at me, pointing at me, clowning the piss out of me. I'm like, what? What's going on? It wasn't a problem that I was singing the song, but I was singing the song the way it was written. And the song was from a woman to a man. Now, if you're going to sing a song like that, you got to change it from, a man to a woman. You got to masculine the song up a little bit. And I know better. Now, at that time, I should have known better too. But I hadn't been around a group of men in a long time to know that, okay, whenever you sing a certain type of song, that's like Fantasia. I love me some Fantasia. Most real gangsters love Fantasia. You can listen to it, but when you singing it, you got to change her lyrics up. Now, if you don't want to change her lyrics up because you like the song the way it's written, then you just listen to it and shut your ass up. I used to work in another barbershop. Even when they used to hear me listen to Fantasia, because I used to have them beats on and it's loud, they was laughing then, but I wasn't singing it. I wasn't singing that shit. Now, that's the difference. You see what I'm saying? It wasn't no man code violation, but it was a man code almost like infraction. You know what I'm saying? Because you're listening to it too loud, you're in the barbershop, but her music soothes me. When I'm upset, I'm pissed off, I turn on Fantasia. Everybody know that music soothes the savage beast, right? Man code violation. So there are certain things that are missing when you don't have a man in your life. And I understand that some people want to say my mom did a great job, because the last thing you want to do is tell your mother who you love that she sucked as a parent, right? But as a man, as a man, you are missing valuable manhood, man code lessons. You are missing certain masculine traits that you would have had. And the thing about it is, if it's not true, why does 23andMe exist? Because people want to know where they come from. You don't know where you're going if you don't know where you come from. If all you know is your mama probably pissed off with your daddy because your daddy left her high and dry with you. If you ask her something about your daddy, the average mother ain't even going to want to tell you, right? So you're not knowing where you're coming from. So you just lost. You walk around here lost. You think you're doing everything the right way. Then you done made it at 25, 26, 27 years old. You done made up in your mind that, okay, you got your own opinion about yourself and how your life is and all that good stuff, and can't nobody tell you nothing by that point. You see what I'm saying? But one thing about me, I got to push the masculine narrative. I got to push that, because that's what, I'm a barber, and a barber is a masculine environment. And not everybody adopts my way of thinking. I got guys that come into my shop, I'm pretty sure they're undercover brothers, or they just didn't have a dad, or they just don't even join in on, it's something about them that makes them not join in on the conversation because they know they probably couldn't swim in the water with the sharks on certain conversations. Like, okay, my ex-wife, her father died very early. She got 2 older siblings, but everybody was young when the father died. I think her brother might have been like around 7 or 8. So by the time I meet her, I'm 27 years old. I done been in the military before by this time, and now I'm in barber school with over 300 and something guys in my barber school. So I'm surrounded by just masculine energy. Most of these dudes done been locked up or whatever. Now, whether they was receiving or pitching or catching or just wasn't doing nothing, I don't know. But I'm just letting you know that there was a lot of masculine energy, whether it was authentic or they was putting on the front. I'm just letting you know. And I've been in the military. And if you obeyed in the military, it'll show, trust me. So, but her father died when they were very young. So I remember she was asking me, why don't you go kick it with my brother? Kick it with my brother. For one, if a woman got to ask her man to go hang with you, that means you ain't got no friends, bro. And why don't you have any friends? Because you don't fit in with men. That's why. So when she was like, I want you to hang with my brother, I'm looking like, man, I'm not trying to hang with your brother. I am not trying to hang with your brother at all. So she was like, come on. So I'm like, all right, man, let me hang with this dude. Me and her brother only like a few months apart. But I'm looking at him like, man, this ain't no, man, this dude weird, bro. Like he awkward. Like, I ain't rocking with dude, bro. So I'm like, man, you want to go kick it? You want to go hang out? I'm about to roll out. I'm out here in H-Town. I'm moving around. He was like, nah. So usually say no. So then after that, I'm definitely not asking your ass to go nowhere no more. I'm the type of person, if I invite you somewhere and you ain't trying to go, that's a wrap. So I asked him out, you want to go somewhere. I asked him if he want to go somewhere. Not ask him out. I asked him if he want to go somewhere. Pause. I asked him if he want to go somewhere. And he was like, yeah, let's go catch a movie. I'm like, all right, so bet. I'm like, what you want to go see? Dude tell me 50 Shades of Grey. I'm like, thinking to myself, like, motherfucker, that's the chick flick that everybody gonna see. Like, that's for women, bro. You know what I'm saying? This dude want to go see 50 Shades of Grey. Man code violation. But I'm like, fuck, man. So I'm like, all right, bro, we'll go. All right? We go to the movies, bro. This dude sit right next to me in the movie theater, son, with all these open seats. Man code violation. You do not sit next to a man in the movie theater, son. But if he had a father in his life, he would know that shit. If he had male homeboys, older, preferably older, you should not be hanging out with dudes your age because it ain't nothing that they could teach you unless they grew up around old heads like I did or they lived a lot of life like I have for my age. That's why I make sure my kids use their passport every year. I expose my kids to a lot because I would not have my son going to the movies with his homeboys and sitting right next to his partner with all them open seats in there. Me and this dude, bro, went to go see 50 Shades of Grey, and in the movie theater, he sat right next to me. Man code violation. So I ended up politely getting my ass up and sitting the next chair down, and I went to sleep. You can't ask me nothing about what happened in 50 Shades of Grey. To this day, I have no idea what that movie is totally about. I know the synopsis, but I have no idea what's happening in there. All I know is old boy strung old girl up and was doing all kinds of wild stuff to her that women tend to love. But I know one thing, that dude in that movie was masculine and he was an alpha, and that's why all the women love watching that movie. So when it comes to these dudes talking about, oh, I'm not missing out on nothing and alpha male is a social construct and being masculine is a social construct, I feel sorry for the women because y'all the ones that's going to be missing out. A lot of these dudes ain't gonna want to tie y'all up and take the little stick with the little feather and tickle it in all them places that make you giggle and wiggle. Yeah, they ain't gonna want to hit you with the giggle wiggle. I feel sorry for y'all women. Cause dudes like me, we dying off. So I hope these YouTube videos that I'm making that they stay up so y'all can refer to them. Like I said, if anybody who was sensitive, this was not the video for you, man. I actually would have saved this for Patreon, but this was on my heart and I had to get it off. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you see what happens when you don't have a man in your life, preferably your father. Your grandpa is not going to be able to do it. They're too old. Old people want to be left the fuck alone. And most old people will tell you, I don't raise my children. I'm not raising yours. I raise you, your siblings, your brothers. I'm not raising yours. You bring your kids over here for the summer. I keep them for the summer and I ain't cooking. So you better bring food over here every other day. Bring enough meal prep, do whatever, last for the whole month. You know what I'm saying? But this Uncle Mel, man, I just wanted to come and holler at y'all about, you know what I'm saying, the man code, bro. And just let y'all know, don't be thinking that, y'all ain't missing out on something without having a father, because y'all definitely are. You know what I'm saying? And all y'all freaking women that love 50 Shades of Grey, you know what I'm saying? Tell them dudes, man, look, if they can't get you the tickle with the wiggle tickle, if they can't pinch the nipples, you don't want them. You know what I'm saying? Just ask a man day one, do you believe in the man code? If he don't even know what it is, leave him alone. If he say no, definitely leave him the hell alone, because that means he know. But if you do better, you do better. He know better and still won't do better. This Uncle Mel, man, look, don't forget to share, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and check out some of our early videos. I got some more great content just like today coming to y'all in the near future. Check out my social media links down in the description below. This was Uncle Mel, y'all. Holla at ya. Hey.
Y'all fucking with my nigga Uncle Mel.
everywhere. Look everywhere. Look everywhere. Look everywhere. How long you been cutting? How long you been cutting? How long you been cutting? It's Uncle Mel.